I'm just so sorry that our nation is now in the position of following a foreign policy in Vietnam that was recommended by Senator Goldwater. And certainly the present administration revealed restraint in international affairs, and now we have succumbed to the whole problem of doing the very thing that Mr. Goldwater advocated.
One more question on the Peace Army. Are you saying that it would...
Dr. King, do you plan to make any personal appeals to foreign heads of state regarding the Vietnam conflict?
Well, this is a matter that I am considering very seriously. I have gone to the pains of the job of getting the addresses of the heads of state of all of the countries involved in the Vietnam conflict, and I plan in about a week or two to write all of them, urging them to sit down at the conference table and bring about a ceasefire to what I consider one of the most dangerous conflicts in the world today, and if it continues to be escalated, it can lead to the annihilation of the whole human race.
Are you fearful that this is possibly a violation of a federal law prohibiting private citizens from dealing for a criticism?
Well, it is not only a criticism of our nation. As I said last night, this problem and this conflict happens to be so complicated now that the job ahead is not to place blame, not to look back to a negative past and see where mistakes were made, because I think if we look at that, we will see some mistakes on all sides. The job now is to move into a creative future and stand up in a positive present and move on to solve the problem. I think that we must do certain things in our nation to demonstrate our good faith. One is to seriously consider halting the bombings in North Vietnam, and the second is to make an unequivocal, unambiguous statement that we are willing to negotiate with the Viet Cong, or its political arm, the National Liberation Front. On the other hand, I think both North Vietnam and Communist China must express unequivocally their desire and their determination to negotiate a settlement, and I think they've been all too slow in this, and in recent weeks they have become even more recalcitrant at this point. So I think on both sides there must be some giving and taking.
Do you believe that we should halt bombing North Vietnam now?
Yes, I think this would be one of the best steps that we could take to demonstrate our determination to negotiate a settlement. This would demonstrate that we are not trying to overuse or overexpress our power. Everybody knows that the United States has great military power, but I think now we must rely more on our moral power rather than our military power.
Dr. King, will there be a peace army?
Well, I haven't gone into that Logan Act. I've heard of it, but I don't know the legal details. However, I do not consider what I plan to do in violation of any federal law, because I would not be attempting to be a negotiator. Certainly the job of negotiation must come from the involved parties. I serve only in the capacity as a citizen of this nation and as a concerned citizen of the world, calling upon the nations of the world to negotiate a settlement in this very dangerous and I would say very tragic.
Okay, taken in 5.
Dr. King, do you plan to make any personal appeal
To a foreign government.
As one who served the civil rights movement by accepting on behalf of that movement the Nobel Peace Prize, and I would hope that in some way these heads of the various nations of our world will come together and bring about a settlement.
Dr. King, have you had any contact with the White House on this matter?
No, I haven't talked with the White House in recent weeks about it at all. I've talked with President Johnson about the Vietnam situation, but I haven't talked with him about the proposed idea of sending the letters to these various important figures in our world, and I don't plan to talk with the White House about that.
You said last night that dissent is not disloyalty. Is it your feeling that this is a dissent?
There may be in some future period. I don't see the development of the peace army right now. I think the idea is one that must be explored in depth, and I think, as I said when I received the Nobel Peace Prize, that the time has come to experiment, to make serious studies of the whole philosophy of nonviolence in international conflict, just as we have in the struggle for racial justice within nations.
What would a peace army do?
Well, a peace army would do some of the same things that we've done in the nonviolent movement. I don't have the details of it, but a peace army would be patterned after the kind of thing that Vinoba Bhave, for instance, in India has called for in so many instances, people by the thousands willing to present their lives non-violently, their bodies and their being, in order to stand up against an unjust system. They would have to be willing to face possible death. They would have to be willing to present themselves in the very face of standing armies in order to dramatize the issue on the one hand and arouse the conscience of the world on the other hand.
Dr. King, would you put yourself now in the category of those opposed to the administration's current Vietnam policy?
Well, I would certainly have to say that I have some serious questions about this policy. I think President Johnson has made it clear that he wants to negotiate a settlement, and he has said this over and over again the last few days, and I'm very happy to hear that, but I think there are some other things that we can do.
Do you see any role for yourself in such a negotiation?
No, I see no role in negotiation. As I said, that must be done by the nations and all of the involved parties. But I do see a role as one who is greatly concerned about peace, as a minister of the gospel.
Perhaps to Vietnam and stand between actual firing patrols.
Well, I'm saying I have no plans for such a peace army at this time, and I don't think such a peace army has been developed. I was just speculating on what this kind of army would do and the kind of responsibility that it would have, and it would be a very tremendous responsibility to stand up and face death itself between the warring parties in Vietnam.
Thank you, Dr. King.
We have a resolution coming out this morning. It ought to be on the floor pretty soon on the Vietnam crisis, coming from the convention as a whole, which you may want a copy of as soon as it's passed by the convention. And the Young will have some copies.
May we check on one thing? Was
Now I'm about to get funky to something that Premier plays funky. We're gonna do it this way. I'm getting funky to something that Premier plays. I'm the guru and we'll do it this way. Now give the credit where it is due. Give the credit, y'all, where it's due. Now give the credit where it is due. Give the credit, y'all, where it's due. I'm heated up because I'm seeing folks that are so phony. They didn't know me when I was broke and I was lonely. Only a few came to check me, so they come first. And yo, our people come next, G. We go to a club, the Milky Way of the payday, the outlaw spots where the music was real hot. And you wasn't there when the underrated real MCs came to quit and used to kick slick lyrics, all live without no lip sync. To a dope break, building skills from instinct. I'm tired of people getting all excited. I'm not tripping, I'm just a thing. But I'm delighted to let you know that some others be flim-flamming. I'll let you know that all this time we've been jamming. So give up the props, hops, jealousy's a flaw. If the next man deserves it, earns it, it should be law. So let him pass right through, cause you got to give the credit, y'all, where it is due. know you got to give the credit where it is due. Give the credit, y'all, where it's due.